Let's get some more now on the breaking news. The White House announcing it's upping the U.S. military commitment in Iraq. As many as an additional 450 troops could soon be headed there to the Anbar province to help Sunni forces get ready to try to fight ISIS. Up on Capitol Hill, joining us right now is the Idaho Republican Senator James Risch. He's a member of the Senate Foreign Relations and the Senate Intelligence Committee. Thanks very much, Senator, for joining us. What's your reaction when you heard this latest development?
Well, Wolf, I think it's pretty ubiquitous up here that people are looking at that and saying, okay, what's the purpose of this? Our problem is we can't get a clear definition of what the strategy is in the Middle East, let alone what the specific strategy is for Iraq and, for that matter, for Syria. And so I think people want to help, people want to do something, but the question is, what's the point here? What is the goal? What are you trying to accomplish?
The Pentagon put out a statement which concluded with these words defining their strategy. This effort, the latest development in another 450 troops, this effort is in keeping with our overarching strategy to work with partners on the ground to degrade and ultimately defeat ISIL or ISIS. That's their strategy. Is that good enough?
Well, it's pretty general. I mean, we all want to do that. We all want to defeat ISIS, ISIL-Daesh, whatever you want to call it. Everybody wants to do that. Our difficulty is how you do that. When you talk about work with our partners, okay, what are you talking about? You know, these 450 are supposed to train Iraqi troops. Now, we've had two really serious disappointments with the Iraqi troops. The first one was when ISIS first crossed into Iraq and two divisions just dissipated. They dropped their weapons, uniforms, and went home. The second one was the Ramadi. There were substantially more Iraqi forces there than there were of ISIS, and yet again they fled. So, you know, we got to have a better strategy than this general statement to what you're talking about.
So what's your recommendation, Senator? What would you do?
Well, I think, first of all, they need to negotiate with Congress a specific strategy on the Middle East and then drill it down to Iraq and to Syria. I think one of the things that needs to be done that's always left out of this equation are the people in Iraq who are actually willing to fight. You've got the Kurds there who are good friends of ours, who are fierce fighters, who are willing to do what we ask them to do. They come to Washington, D.C. all the time to ask us for help. The administration says, no, we have to go through Baghdad for that. So that's one thing that could be brought into the equation. But simply to, look, we either should or we shouldn't. This middle of the road thing, well, we'll just kind of keep throwing a little bit at it, and hopefully this will go away or at least stay as it is until the next administration takes over. This just isn't cutting it. And meanwhile, every day ISIS gets stronger, and we really need a specific strategy to deal with it, not just 450 people that they're talking about, well, they're going to train some more. The training isn't the problem. We spent hundreds of millions of dollars training the Iraqis, the Iraqi military forces already, and look what we're getting for it. Not much, if anything.
I would say billions of dollars, not just hundreds of millions. If you add it all up over the decade that the U.S. was deployed there with 100,000, 150,000 troops at some point. You want the U.S. to arm the Peshmerga Kurdish fighters directly. Here's what the White House says in their announcement today. They say this, and I'll read it to you, that this will only happen, the weapons that will go to the Kurds in coordination with the central government, operating under Iraqi command to ensure that our partners have the equipment needed to effectively fight ISIL. You don't trust the central Iraqi government. You want the U.S. to provide those weapons directly to the Peshmerga. Is that right?
Well, the words that the White House put out interpreted means this isn't going to happen because the Kurds are autonomous. They fight by themselves. They're very good. Look, they've been trying for a long time to coordinate this, and it isn't working. The Kurds don't trust the central government in Iraq. The central government certainly doesn't trust the Kurds. This just is not going to work. Having said that, if we dealt directly with them, I think we would have some success. You know, I deal with both sides all the time. I've watched the performance of both sides, and we know that one is successful and one isn't. So which one would you partner with?
James Risch, Senator, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Wolf. Glad to be here.
All right. Thank you. We'll move on to other news. They planned their escape with amazing precision.